Hey guys, it's Stacey. Sorry if you can hear any banging in the background. My brother is on his drums, so just ignore that. This video is going to be a little bit different than all my other ones because it's going to be quite political. Usually my videos are only a little bit. This is going to be quite in-your-face political, but I'm using my platform as it's intended to get my thoughts and feelings out there because I can. Suck it up and deal with it. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the coronavirus, sort of some facts, and sort of how I feel about it because I can. So yeah, the coronavirus started somewhere between September and December 2019. And it started in China, which is why we're not really sure when it started, and we're also not sure where it originated. Some people are saying it originated from animals at a wet market in China where they sell illegal food, well, animal food. They sell illegal animals to eat, there we go. So some people think it was like anteater, some people think it was bats, I've heard some people think it's snakes, some people think it's like weird fish, but we'll never know. I've also heard some speculation that it started in a laboratory where it was like man-made, or they were working and experimenting on this animal and somehow it got into a human and then was released into human population. However it started, it's now in 210 countries across the entire world, which is mad. There has been this many recorded cases in the entire world. This information's all from the 15th of April, with this many recovered. And unfortunately, out of all of them, this many people have died. Unfortunately, with the virus, there's sort of a lot of things wrong. There's quite a few ways it could have been not this bad. So a lot of people are saying that China should have stopped it before it got out. So it started in the Wuhan province of China and then obviously spread throughout China, and because China didn't close its borders, these people have flew all over the world and interacted with so many different people. When the virus first started, the rate of infection was 1 person in 10 meetings can infect 59,000 people. That's how contagious the virus was. Like, that's absolutely crazy. You can get infected by somebody you don't even know. Like, it takes 1 person to potentially kill 59,000 people. And there's been a lot of, I was going to say misinformation, but that's not true. And a lot of people are upset with how governments have handled it. But this is a completely unprecedented situation. It's not happened for 100 years. People alive today do not know how to deal with it, and even if they've had sort of a pandemic like this before, they wouldn't have known how to deal with it in their lifetime because they don't have resources like we do now. Like, we have sort of massive hospitals, we've got such advances in science, pharmaceuticals, things like that, to deal with it a bit better. And obviously we've got lockdown and we can shut down works and things, but a lot of people, I keep saying a lot of people because I'm not really sure how else to categorise everyone, because not everyone feels the same. Obviously, it's a very weird situation. Unfortunately, there's been a lack of personal protective equipment all over the world, but again, it's an unprecedented situation. It's essentially never happened before, and to the people who are saying that we should have been more prepared, how the hell could we have been more prepared? You don't just think, oh yeah, well there's going to be a massive outbreak of this virus that we've never ever seen before, so we'll just put aside millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds of equipment that we're never ever going to use because we're never ever ever going to have a virus. Like, it's the 21st century, we should not be having to deal with animal viruses. We shouldn't have to. Now that probably sounds like I'm having a go at China, like the morons for eating whatever animal they eat, and I think it's a little bit silly, like, don't eat random exotic animals, but I can sort of see where they're coming from. They've got billions of people to feed, a lot of them are quite poor, so obviously you're going to turn to sort of cheap alternatives, which is quite sad when you think about it, because if the only thing you can get is some sort of dodgy street meat, that's really sad. But it shouldn't have got to this point. If you're ill, go to the doctors and they should sort it out. When you realise you have a virus or some sort of contagious illness on your hands, you deal with it. But yeah, lack of PPE. People are having a go at the government, saying, why aren't you... Sorry, I've got scissors. Why aren't you prepared? This video is going to be a jumble of just like thoughts coming out of my head. But it's just stuff I've been thinking for a while. They're like, why aren't you prepared for this? Because nobody knew it was going to happen. And at first, when it first came out, the WHO said, don't worry about it, it's just a cold. Go about your daily lives, it'll be gone soon, like, go for herd immunity, once you've got it, you'll be fine. You know, it's just old people that are dying, gonna die soon anyway, it's fine. So people are like, yeah, whatever, it's just a cold, everyone go party, do what you want to do. And then it started getting serious, and nobody started to take it seriously because they'd just been told it wasn't an issue. I have to admit I didn't really take it seriously at the beginning either, because they just told you it was a really bad cold and old people were dying. I've had bad colds before and I'm not old, so, you know, it's fine, it's not going to get me. And then younger and younger people started dying, but they had underlying health conditions such as like asthma and diabetes, which was, you know, fine because I'm not 45 and I don't have asthma or diabetes. And then an 18-year-old died who was perfectly healthy. And you're like, oh shit, that's me. And it's scary. A lot of people are dying. And people weren't following the lockdown, and I didn't understand because they were treating it like a holiday. You know, you don't have to go to work, you don't have to go to school, you've got a loan, a mortgage, holiday, don't have to pay for your house. The only thing you have to pay for is like your food and stuff. You don't have to go to work, you're still getting 80% of your salary. They were treating it like a holiday. We've had some nice weather, don't get me wrong, it's been really nice and sunny. But people weren't obeying lockdown. Why the hell were you not obeying lockdown? They're moaning and moaning and moaning that it's been extended. Oh, for God's sake, it's been extended another 2 weeks. Yeah, because right at the beginning, you thought it was alright to go and have a jolly in the sun for 2 days. Every single person you interacted with could have had it. It took one of them people to infect every single person on that street. One person to infect everyone. And then think about what you saw on your little jollies. And then you thought you'd do the same the next week. It takes 30 days for the virus to get through your system. And we had a couple nice weekends in a row. Every single time you go out, you have the potential to infect 59,000 people. And you wonder why lockdown's been extended. Really? Like, people are, I know you're going to go mad being locked in your house with nothing to do but watch the telly and have a fight with your kids because they want to go out and see their mates. But you just can't do it. You're putting people's lives at risk that don't need to be. And I know we're coming out of lockdown soon, so this video is a bit late, but we could have been out weeks ago. Or because some people wanted to enjoy a nice day. I just think it's madness. So many people who didn't need to die have. Because you wanted to have a nice weekend. You don't even know who you could have killed or potentially could have killed. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but that's just it. The death rate isn't very high. The majority of people who have it are either non-symptomatic, so you don't even know you've got it, or you get a little bit of a sniffle and a little bit of a cough. It doesn't even bother you that much. Or, yeah, it's a little bit bad. You might have to go to hospital. But why risk it? Why? Why? Like, these protests in America, they proper wound me up because they're saying it's their right to kill people. It's their right to be out and about and interacting with people. They don't have to social distance. They don't have to do what they don't want to. But I'm not being funny. If you just went and shot your neighbour, that is not your right. If you just went and stabbed someone and killed them, that is not your right. You can't go and kill people. It's not your right. This virus is killing people. It's not killing everyone, but it's killing people. It's not your right to kill people. Lockdown isn't nice, but by rioting and going out when you're not allowed to, you're extending it. You're technically doing it to yourself and all these other people who are obeying it. People are doing as they're told and you're ruining it for them. Or because you want a haircut. They want a haircut too. They don't want to be cooped inside, but they understand the risks of going out. They don't want to hurt people. I've seen videos of like people coughing on other people. That's attempted murder in my eyes. And I don't care if people think I'm over exaggerating, because you can potentially kill them. I heard a story of a little girl and her dad who were out, like just out and about. They're on a walk. You're allowed to exercise. The UK government's not awful. They're out and about, and I can't remember exactly what the little girl said, but they were some teenagers, and the little girl said something to them, and they spat on their hand and wiped it. They said they had the bad bug, spat on their hand and wiped it all over this little girl's face. And then they spat in the dad's face and all over him. First of all, why would you do that anyway, whether you have the coronavirus or not? Why? That's just disgusting. But now this little girl, she's like 3 or 4, is going to be terrified for no reason. And her dad is going to be terrified. Can't interact with his wife, can't interact with his other kids for 30 days, just in case. And what the hell would happen if those boys genuinely did have it and didn't know? The majority of people are non-symptomatic. You genuinely don't know if you've got it. Not a sniffle, not a cough, not anything. You think you're fine. And you give it to other people. And you think you're fine. So these people in America who are like protesting, saying it's not real and it's fake, what are all these people dying of then? Yeah, loads of people do die every year. They die of things like cancer and heart disease, all this stuff that can't be helped. Yeah, we're looking at it and you can get like chemo and stuff, but you give money to cancer research and stuff like that. If you could stop it, you would. So why are you going out of your way to potentially spread a virus that can kill people? If it killed your nan, your grandma, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, you'd think differently. There's so many families that have been affected by it. Just because it's not yours doesn't mean it's not real. And when it does affect you, you will think so much differently. But it shouldn't have to get to that point. It should not have to get to the point where you lose someone for you to take it real and serious. It shouldn't. Because there's already been too many people lost when there didn't need to be. Same with this PPE, lack of PPE. Unfortunately, we don't have enough because we didn't plan for a global epidemic. We just didn't. Hasn't been one for like 100 years. You can't plan for random stuff like this. And the government is trying their best to get some. We bought stuff from other countries and stuff. You can only do what you can. But people are blaming the government. They are trying. And the elections are coming up this year. And they're going to use it against presidents. We've already seen it with Donald Trump. Now, I do not agree with 99% of what Donald Trump says. Sometimes I do think he's a moron. But I agree with the way he's handled lockdown, closed his borders, and I know he's had a big death toll, but he's got a massive country, and his country's decided to riot like morons. But, like with the Dettol thing, for example, he never said drink it, or ingest it, or inject it. They twist and turn his words to make him look like a buffoon, so that they can say, he's a moron, get him out of the White House. And I think they're going to do the same with Boris Johnson. These men and women and whoever are in Parliament don't know how to deal with an epidemic, pandemic, whatever it's called. I'm also not in politics. I don't know wording. They can only do what they've been told. The WHO told them not to panic, so they didn't. Yes, some countries closed their borders, other countries didn't. They can only do what they've been told. And I know that, like, different political parties will say, well, I would have done this and I would have done that. No, you wouldn't. You would have been put in exactly the same position. You would have done what you were told by organisations who are meant to know what they're doing. The WHO were meant to know what to do in this circumstance, and they didn't. They don't. They gave you false information and you acted on it, unfortunately. But when it comes to election time, they're going to say Boris Johnson messed up, Donald Trump messed up. You would have done exactly the same in this circumstance. You can't say you wouldn't, because nobody knows what to do. No one. Who knows, they might have done something different and it could have lost so many more lives. You never know. You might have gone into lockdown super early, like the second it was announced, and then your whole country will turn against you because you've overreacted. Or you could have left it till the very, very last minute and lost so many more lives than needed to be. Nobody knows what to do. You can only do what you've been told to do by people who are meant to know the answers. And when the people who don't know, or they give you the wrong information, unfortunately mistakes are going to be made. You can't blame one person, especially when that one person has also been a victim of the virus themselves. And yeah, he was a bit silly for shaking hands, and maybe Donald Trump shouldn't have had that discussion on camera, but they're just trying to figure it out like everyone else is. Donald Trump was stood there trying to think what was best for his country, and he got told that light and heat and disinfectant kills the virus. So in his brain, like any other person, he was thinking, I wonder if there's a way to get light or heat or a body-safe disinfectant into the body to kill the virus, and happened to ask a doctor next to him. He never turned to the American public and said, I want everyone to drink Dettol and Lysol. Really? Are you morons? Why? First of all, he never said that, but come on, you're not 5. If he turned around and said, I want the whole American population to drink bleach, would you? Use your brains. As he likes to say, use the brain you were born with. Or as my mum likes to say, if your friend jumped off a cliff, would you? Like, and the whole shaking hands thing, yes, he shook hands with the NHS people, but that was before we knew how contagious it was. You can't blame him. He was showing them respect. They're putting their lives on the line. They go to work every single day knowing it might be their last, to try and save your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, because they don't want you to lose them. They don't want them to lose their lives. Imagine how awful it is drowning in your own lung fluid. Imagine how awful it is dying in general with your family around you, but imagine dying in a room by yourself, drowning in your own lung fluid with nothing but a sterile light and the beeping of your monitor next to you. These people put their lives on the line to save these people, and you morons can't even stay inside because it hasn't affected you yet, other than you can't go to your mate's house and have a party because you've had a nice weekend and you can't go to the park and have a picnic. Fucking really? The world is bigger than just you and me. And humans are selfish animals, we're selfish creatures, but we need to stop. especially when it comes to stuff like this, because it's ridiculous. We preach that we want to save the planet. We want to stop using plastic because it's bad for turtles. And we want to stop cutting down trees because it's bad for the ozone layer. But we can't even spend a weekend inside to save our own species. I don't understand. And going back to the PPE stuff, because I completely forgot, an artist called Becca Brown, I saw this on the White Pube, really good like art critique people, definitely check them out. They're on Twitter and Instagram. Posted a link last night to a news article, and this artist called Becca Brown, which sounds so similar to my name, is basically hoarding personal protective equipment because she needs it for her artwork. Like thousands and thousands of pounds worth. I'm talking like maybe £10,000 worth, with more on the way. Says she needs it for her artwork. Your artwork? Use something else. Artists all over the world have had to adapt and improvise in a time like this. I've had to adapt and improvise. Usually I have the world at my fingertips, and I've been put in such a creative slump because of it that I've nearly just thrown in the towel and done English or history or something, which my old teachers would have loved. But you adapt and you improvise and you find new ways to do it. Like, I've used plaster, I've never used that before, and what else have I done? I've used a banana. Like, you change it up. But my artwork does not affect people's lives. If I don't make any artwork at all, no one cares. If I make tons of artwork, no one cares. Your artwork, talking directly to Becca Brown, even though she won't even watch this and I don't care, talking directly to you, your artwork is killing people. Actually, I hope you see this. I know you won't, but I hope you do. Your artwork is killing people. If you want to use PPE, make your own. Tons and tons of tutorials and blogs on how to make your own face masks and stuff like that. You don't need the stuff that hospital workers need. You've got military grade personal protective equipment. You're an artist, for God's sake. Adapt and improvise, Bear Grill it. You don't need it. There's people putting their life on the line every single day. They can't even see their families. And you can't give up a face mask. Get a grip. And change your ways. Because that's just not on. That's not right. That's not what you do. It's just disgusting. There's people dying that don't need to die. You're literally taking like 3 masks and spray painting them a neon pink. That can save someone's life. And you're ruining them. You want to make a difference, or you want to make an impact, give them up. Give them to somebody who needs them. Because what you're doing is selfish. Yes, it's your artwork, and you shouldn't have to change your artwork, but this is an unprecedented time. Nothing is as it should be. Nothing's normal. In a normal world, artists can do what they want. But this is not normal. it's not. And on that happy note, I'm going to end the video there. So guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Sorry for the lighting change, it's got dark outside, but as I said in my makeup video, I do like saving the environment, and I always try and use natural lighting when I can. So I shall see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!